You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Fantastic. I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular?
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to me?
You got something you want to say?
With that, I'm going to go on to our clue for the next episode. And what we're going to do, if you want to get nuts,
come on, let's get nuts.
Oh, God.
A lot of actors.
Wait a minute.
A lot of actors can get nuts. Some of them get nuts with their... Some of them get nuts. They're naturally born, just nuts, eating Twinkies all the time. And then others are just absolutely nuts to the point where they're walking around seeing people. Or wait, or is he the one? Is he the one who's dead? I don't remember, but I know I'm knocking Chance out with this riddle, and I'm loving it. For Chance, for Easy, for Aaron, for Dom, and for Chris, we are out. What up, family? It's your boy Amadou, and we are back with another episode of One Gotta Stay. I am taking a deep breath because I came home early thinking like I was gonna have enough time, and I got caught up, and of course I had to rush everything. But somehow I was still on time, which is good. We have a cat, so nothing else matters. With that, we'll just start with the cat's owner. Cat's owner. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Clint is going to do this all day and probably be super annoying, but I'm good. I'm super excited about this because the second I saw it, I was like, I have to be on this. And you knew it, I think, as well. I have to be.
Of course.
I'm looking forward to this. I always love being on the show, and this is a perfect one for me, so I'm looking good. I'm ready.
Yeah, basically anybody who knows you has no surprise at your choice. So we're just looking at your 2 through 4 and seeing how that works out. Anybody who doesn't, welcome to Anthony's Taste. We're gonna go over to Mr. Carefree over there. I have a debate against that man coming up fairly soon, so we're gonna just start it out right now. Richard, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I wanted to come back on the show. I had fun last time, and I saw the 4 actors. Like, I've seen these movies with these people, so I'm like, I might as well try for this. I'm excited.
All right, perfect. And right below Richard is Adelaide, you say that you may not know much about this, but you were very immediate with your choices. So I feel like you have more to say than you have presented to me.
I'll get into it later. I have a clear 1 and a clear 4. It's just the 2 and 3 I felt really iffy about. Even now, I'm not very certain, but I know my 1, and I will debate the fuck out of my 1 because I am confident.
All right. And then next to them, not an orange filter, but an orange shirt. This man is always first to get me a list, and I can't have him on every single week, but I can have him on now because he hasn't been on in a while. It's always good to see you, Chris. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Like, at a length, I have a clip for it, and then the rest I love to watch. So this will be a fun one. I love and like most of these actors. So this will be a fun one.
Cool. You still sound like you're in like a submarine, but it's okay. We can understand you well enough. And I have not bothered this man because he's somewhat of an old curmudgeon, but he's a great old curmudgeon. And when he reached out, I was like, yes, finally, I could go at him about something. Kirk, there was no way you're not being on this episode. I was waiting for the day, and it's here. I'm very happy. How are you doing? Very excited to have you here. And you are muted. You are muted.
Oh, you went full Peggy.
Off to a great start.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here. This is like you said, my first episode. I've wanted to be on for a while, but most of your topics when they pop up, I'm like, oh, maybe there's probably some other people who are going to have more to say about that. But this was like I can really contribute to this conversation, so I took my shot here, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I can't wait. So now, I guess my rival has his choices. So these are some choices he said. He said he can be in and be out, but let's just make it really clear who we are arguing about, who gets to stay. We have 4 of of my childhood, or at least half of my childhood. The other half, just wait till next episode. But half of my childhood comes up in these 4 actors. I grew up on a lot of them. Michael Keaton, Bruce Willis, when he likes to act. Nick Cage, when he is he not acting. And Woody Harrelson. We choose one. The work of the rest are gone. And we're going to fight it out now. So let's just get started. And I want to know, Anthony, who's your number 4?
All right. This was actually tougher than I thought it was going to be because it took me a minute to really figure out. I was between 2, but my number 4 is going to be painfully Woody Harrelson of this group. I really enjoy a lot of his movies, but just I feel like he's more of a secondary character in so many of the films he's in than he is a star in the good ones. And a lot of the good ones, he's kind of a secondary person. So he's funny in a lot of them. He's a great actor, but to me, when you start the thing of let's get nuts, he's not nuts enough for me. That is where I have to go in comparison. So he's my 4. It was a tough choice, but he is my 4.
So this has to be the list that out of all of usually when I make my list, I either know my 1 or I know my 4. I know something. This was the one that I knew nothing until I researched it. And I agree. Woody is also my number 4. Does anybody else have Woody Harrelson at number 4?
He is also my number 4.
Go ahead, Richard. Why did you come up with this man at number 4?
I really like Woody Harrelson, but the thing is, I haven't seen that many movies of Woody Harrelson, with the exception of like Zombieland, Now You See Me, Natural Born Killers, and when I was also looking back on, is there an actor out of these 4 that could be replaced in other movie roles that he's done? I thought Woody Harrelson was he had a lot of roles. I thought other people could do the role compared to the other 3. I love him. But
I'm not sure whether or not he could be replaced. You need to see White Men Can't Jump.
I've seen that too, but just not as many as the other 3.
Need to see Money Train. He did great as Haymitch, as though a lot of people don't care to lose Hunger Games. I do a little bit, but comparably to the big franchises everybody else has, it's the only thing I'm really, 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 really sad about is White Men Can't Jump and Money Train, because Woody and Wesley together are just absolutely brilliant. But comparably, all of these men have franchises. All of them have low-key modern classics, and all of them have spans of time where you're just like, what the hell did you just do? And Woody is, for me, the one that I was like, reluctantly, I can also get rid of Woody. The top row's in agreement. Bottom row, nothing to say. Y'all good with this?
Y'all are dumb as shit.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that.
I think the thing about Harrelson, and then we can get into this whenever we get to my shit, is Harrelson is such a unique actor. I would feel like, other than Haymitch, who was even honestly one of my favorite performances of his, I don't think anyone can do Harrelson. He is his own beast. He brings his own energy and his own charisma to everything he does. He is not replaceable. I still cut the man because he's not amazing, but I think there's a lot here you guys are underselling from him. He has fucking 3 Oscar nominations. This man's a great actor. It's just he's a character actor.
I don't care about Oscar nominations. That means nothing to me.
Apparently, after yesterday, and the fact that Delroy Lindo does not have an Oscar nomination, that's not that big of an argument.
There. I'm just saying. I think he puts in more work than we expect, but he's also just a really talented character actor, and we tend to undervalue those.
To be fair, the movie Crash won Best Picture. Oscars mean nothing to me.
We don't talk about Crash.
I'll talk about more when I get to him on my list, but. Yeah, I just think he has more to offer than my number 4. I think the thing Spence was saying that out of these 4 actors, even though he's spoiler alert, not my number 1, I think he might be the most have the most range, comedy, drama, all that stuff. So I think he has enough where like I said, I'm not keeping him necessarily, but I'm definitely not dumping him first. I have to think about it a little bit before I get rid of Harrelson.
I've been saying it for more, I maybe get to mine, but he's one of the more unappreciated value actors there. The way he brings to each of the character, he got also franchise development, Planet of the Apes, he was really good villain in Planet of the Apes. and not a lot of people have seen it, but he's probably one of my top 10 favorite movie teachers in Enter 17. Like the way he brings to that role, the comic, the uniqueness, the dry humor. Like he unappreciated, and he does so much with his role. Whether he's a pretty good villain, he's a pretty crazy villain, like some psychopath. Like all he want is a dog, and he's doing all of this.
Yeah. For me, really, like all of these guys have like 90 plus credits. But Hunger Games, I can lose before the other ones. White Men Can't Jump, I can lose before my other favorite movies from those guys. Really great ones. Woody was just ended up being the one I could just end up losing before all the rest. It's this again, one of the hardest ones, but I could lose before everything else. Kirk mentioned it though. Not his number 4. So you know what, Kirk? Just go ahead. Go ahead. What's your number 4, sir?
You guys know me. This probably is going to be a huge surprise. My number 4 is Nick Cage.
I'm out.
Yeah. Cage is fun, and like it's cool to like watch him ironically, like see how crazy he is. But again, just looking at the entire filmography, thinking, okay, we're getting rid of all these guys' movies. This is actually easy for me. The next 3 were, I was pretty set on my number 1, but I had to think about the other 3. This one, compared to the other 3, there's just not really a movie. Like, I mean, Con Air's fun, The Rock's fun, but there's really not a movie in his repertoire, in his filmography, where I'm like, oh, if that disappears forever, I'm really going to be heartbroken. I'm really going to miss that. And just what he's doing, like the movies he's making now, I mean, he's basically just like paying back taxes and alimony. It's just whatever job he could get. So yeah, Nick Cage is not my guy, and I'm not going to be that devastated to see him go.
You are a thief of joy.
I just let you know, my camera might go out, but I'll still be here.
Cool. National Treasure is a national treasure. Yes! It's a national treasure. Did you know it was filmed outside this man's house?
I went to the restaurant where he got arrested. It was 3 blocks away from where I live. 3 blocks.
We'll get to what was filmed. We'll get to what was filmed around my house tomorrow.
Oh yeah, fucking Pittsburgh again.
Yeah. I remember when the Washington football team stopped Pittsburgh's undefeated streak. That was a good day. That was a very good day.
Was that your second or third win of the season? That was pretty good for you guys.
Yeah. That was really nice. Does anybody else, Anthony, you don't even have to acknowledge this. Anybody else have Nick Cage out first?
No,
we don't. We like Joy. We like Joy, so we're just gonna move on. Because apparently, I mentioned Old Curmudgeon. I really should have had the Muppets old guys ready to go, but I told you I was rushing. So I'll figure something out later. But we're gonna move over to Adelaide.
Yeah.
Adelaide, who is your number 4?
Speaking of curmudgeon, this is the most curmudgeon-y of them. It's Bruce Willis. I think at the end of the day, this man has a very top-heavy career. He has a couple absolutely brilliant films and a steaming pile of dog shit behind him. Like I mentioned with Harrelson, I think I put a lot into the actor behind, not just the films. As an actor, what does Bruce Willis have to bring to the table? What's my favorite work is like a half-season arc on fucking Friends. That's not a great argument for you. Like he doesn't offer anything as an actor or with his films. After you get through 4 or 5, you're really just fucking taking a nosedive in quality. He has nothing to offer compared to the rest of these. Have an extremely varied and vast career.
One of the best action franchises of all time, one of the greatest modern classics of all time, one of the greatest movies of all time. I don't understand anything you're saying right now past the acting portion. Luckily, I can just go back and watch. His worst movie is the best worst movie out of everybody's. Period. But does anybody else worst movie besides like the B movies, TV movies that nobody really cares about? Anybody else have Bruce Willis at number 4? Chris, go on ahead and tell me why you're wrong.
Listen, I love Die Hard. I love Looper. I love everything fits on it. But I love some of his movies. There's a lot I could do without. You know, the whole 10-yard, like, don't you, like, essentially a thing to kill for? Like, some of the stuff that he does, he hasn't done right since Rupert. And I just think, look, even some of his earlier stuff, there's some stuff like, you're not like it is. Like,
But the whole 9 yards is great. But Sin City is great. You can deal with the other stuff when you
Hostage.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Adelaide's like completely coming at this from the wrong angle because we're not like saying who's the best actor. Because I mean, all four of these guys, I think it's safe to say their best work is behind them. And to judge it just on their acting, you know, it's like
this is beyond acting.
Bruce Willis' acting. I'm going to miss his movies.
You're listing off Willis films, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, he has a lower number of great films than the rest of people.
You're also getting rid of everybody who's in Pulp Fiction.
I don't get. You see, I don't think that's true. However, I am fine losing Pulp Fiction. Fuck Pulp Fiction.
Okay,
yeah,
so
that
we're not doing. We're not doing that in any way, shape, or form. I guess we have.
How many of these do you have?
I don't care. It's on your poster, on a poster on your fucking college dorm in the 90s. Okay, get the fuck out of here. That's 20 years ago.
Oh gosh,
it's nearly 30 years ago. Move on.
You can't say that Bruce Willis's films are like forgettable or bad if you were saying that Woody Harrelson doesn't deserve to be number 4. Woody Harrelson has a lot of forgettable roles in movies as well. That's why I have him at number 4.
Willis has forgettable roles. Harrelson isn't forgettable in his smaller films. You always remember everything he contributes because he's that fucking electric as the.
He plays the same person
and he's still entertaining. Willis doesn't play a character. He's just fucking drunk, walks in.
Disagree on that one. But
I very much disagree on that one. Very much. Chris, anything else? Any other reasons why you have Bruce Willis as number 4?
When I look at Bruce Willis, like, I have a big chance I have 1 and I have 3 direct to just doing the corner in my chance to live Rupert, yes. And Brad and a few others, but just like what everybody else. Like, I be most at losing other people's movies than I do Bruce Willis movies.
Oh my gosh. Sure, fine. You all are wrong on that, but we'll just go over right now. Me, Anthony, and Richard got rid of Woody Harrelson. I am very sad about that. Kirk is a thief of joy, which is a great thing and theme moving forward. And Adelaide and Chris, I don't know what you're doing, but fine. With that, Richard, can we keep this train moving and you're number 3?
No, I was defending Bruce Willis, but this is where I have Bruce Willis at number 3.
We can all agree he's bottom half.
No, I mean, I really do like Bruce Willis. I love him in the first Die Hard movies, but after that, the Die Hard franchise kind of dies.
Wait, where does the Die Hard franchise die?
After Die Hard 2.
Oh my!
Whoa!
I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I like Bruce Willis. I'm just not personally a big Die Hard fan. I like the first 2. I just haven't. I really like him in Armageddon. I really like him in The Fifth Element. I like the other 2 actors that I have in 1 or 2 more than Bruce Willis at this point, and also his career kind of now isn't as strong as his beginning career.
That is true, but this kind of goes the same for all of them. Surprisingly,
no.
Except Woody. Woody's had a resurgence, as had Keaton, but we'll go to that later. Does anybody else? Oh, go ahead, Richard.
As in, so has Nick Cage. He's had a resurgence
too. Has he?
Yes.
Has he?
Yes.
Anybody else have Bruce Willis at their number 3? Anthony, go ahead.
I mean, okay. I really enjoy Bruce. Like 1 and 2, or actually 3, 4, 5, or 1, whatever. I don't know numbers. I'm just saying words now. No, he's my 3. I really enjoy a lot of what he does. 1, Die Hard with a Vengeance is fantastic. Saying that it ends after 2 is just wrong. Sorry, I gotta disagree with you on that one. But I do have him as 3. I like a lot of his work. I enjoy Hostage. I enjoy 12 Monkeys. He had a lot of good stuff at the beginning. He has gone downhill a little bit recently, but his stuff overall was better than Woody's for me, which is why he's my 3 and not my 4. I mean, he does the same general stuff. He's the grumpy old guy, but he's awesome at it. He's so good, and it's so much fun in the movies he does. And also, we just forgetting Death Becomes Her. He's great in that. He's awesome. Like, are we just spacing out on that movie, which is awesome and kind of changes the idea of Bruce Willis?
Have you seen
Yards is excellent.
Have you seen Bruce Willis be happy in a movie? Do you know how amazing that is? It's amazing when you see it.
Here's the thing. I think inarguably Willis has the best decade of work out of everyone here. His run in the 90s is unmatched.
But that was 20 years ago, so we can't count that, Spence. 20 years ago, don't forget about it.
Right here. Like we can carry recency bias, and that's one thing, but it's also only a decade of work, whereas the other three people on this list have been putting out consistent quality over the past 40 years of their career. Willis had a steep dive, and that is the issue. He has lost his consistency and is consistently putting out shit now. Everyone else is at least doing something good every couple of years.
Can I have one question? Just the last thing I remember from Woody Harrelson is Zombieland 2. What's the most nearest besides that from Woody Harrelson? His career work.
He was good. I think it was season 2 of Fargo.
Okay, I'm not counting TV shows. I'm not counting movies.
War for the Planet of the Apes was pretty good.
Oh, everything? Okay, I was mainly talking about movies. My bad.
I mean, Willis is fine. Like, but these three, I mean, and also I go 90s bias because that's when I grew up, and that's when movies to me were like, yes. And in the 90s, he was great in the 90s. You're right, more than else. But these three, I think it's fair.
He's in a minute of Venom, and he's great.
He was good in Looper.
Great in Looper. With that, we're going to move forward to Chris. Chris, you're number 3.
This is tough. And much I love Nick Cage, and I do love Nick Cage. He's my number 3. And I can't forget rid of the other 2. Annoying. But Nick Cage is. Let's say that unlike Bruce Willis, Nick Cage do great work to this thing. I mean, and more recent voiceover is Into the Spider-Verse. Perfect. Things similar to that. But that's the same thing I am with Nick Cage and Bruce Willis. I'm using more, and some of the stuff Nick Cage does, I don't particularly love. I mean, I did love Kick-Ass, I did love Natural Treasure. I did like him and Joe and some of his smaller dramatic work. But there's something I could do without. I just can't put it over the other 2. And it might be because recency bias and how much I love the other 2. That Nick Cage is like, if we're close between 2 and 3 for me, I would say this, because I do love a lot of Nick Cage recently, and it would pain me to lose Spider-Verse, especially how good he was in Spider-Verse, and Joe, and some of the smaller dramatic work he done lately. Right.
So this is you're talking about recency bias. And this is the shows that recency bias isn't a thing because Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is by far top 3 comic book movies of all time.
Oh, are we going to get this conversation?
Yeah, it's top. It is.
Top 3 most overrated comic book movies of all time?
Ever. Period. It is one of the top 3 comic book movies of all time.
I'm sorry, Dick Tracy isn't up there, Kirk.
Exactly. And I'm losing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because Nick Cage is also my number 3. Also my number 3. Does anybody else besides me and Chris have Nick Cage at number 3?
Hey,
Why don't you put it on the show if you're going to do that?
So look, here's the deal. Really, all of these actors have like 90 plus films. All of these actors have amazing franchises. All of these actors have comedies and actions and dramas. In the other 2 that I have, when I just went down the list, Jiu-Jitsu was so horrible.
Oh, that was
adaptation. Leaving Las Vegas.
Not.
And I have movies from the other 2 that are serious, dramatic roles that I would watch over that any day.
In Mandy, get a chainsaw duel with demons.
In my fairness, for me, Nick Cage for number 2, number 3 were very close. It's more in the lines of I like bad movies that feature Nick Cage. A lot of the movies that are considered bad, I really enjoyed those movies. And I do believe he's had a resurgence since those really terrible movies like Kick-Ass, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I really loved him in that movie.
I like
20 years ago.
But I'm not keeping it. I liked Kick-Ass, but that's one of the most forgettable comic books. I can't remember that film. Into the Spider-Verse is the only one I am crying over. Like the fact that I have to
National
lose
Treasure 1 and 2.
I like the other two, and for me, Nick Cage just had to go. I'm sorry.
I got to keep Face Off. Sorry.
Couple of things. First of all, I'm a thief of joy for having Nick Cage at 4, but Rue has him at 3. So what does that make Rue? Second of all, Spence is criticizing Bruce Willis for playing the same character all the time and being a horrible actor, and yet he's freaking out over people insulting Nick Cage, who is the most one-note actor on the face of the earth.
But he's a fun one-note actor.
Bruce Willis is not
as fun as a one-note actor.
Of course, no. Bruce Willis could not do Face Off, but you know what he could do? He could do Hudson Hawk. And Hudson Hawk is
a positive
fucking time. A great fucking time.
And he can also bring the character John McClane down to the ground into the trash over and over and over to kill a Die Hard franchise.
I was with you with like the whole 9 yards. Get Hudson Hawk out of this conversation.
Absolutely love Hudson Hawk. And anyway, but back to Nick Cage. I again, Spider-Verse is my big thing. That's actually probably why he was number 3 over Woody. Because if he wasn't in that film, he probably would have been out first for me. But that saved him. And National Treasure 2, I love National Treasure. But yes, just one note, and it's a note that I don't enjoy in bad movies. In really bad movies, I just don't. But we're gonna keep that moving, keep this train going, and we're gonna go over to. I'm trying to move, Nick, move. I said you were gone, so be gone, Kirk. Kirk, who is your number 3?
Okay. I mean, I knew which way I was gonna go with this, but like it was hard. Like now, I'm like getting rid of guys that I really don't want to get rid of. And my number 3, unfortunately, because somebody has to go, is going to be Woody Harrelson. Out of the 3, out of the 4, I should say, he is probably the best actor. I think there's only one other actor in here who even gives him a run for his money. I think it's neck and neck, but he's probably the best actor. He has the most diverse body of work. Like I said, he does great drama. He does great comedy. He has so many really good roles. And I think like just even like Hunger Games, I'm not a big Hunger Games fan, but whenever he's on the screen in those movies, I'm excited. Like that's the best part of those movies. And he's like a lot of those like and even like I think Chris talked about when he plays a villain. If you've seen Out of the Furnace, he is fantastic as just like a psychotic bad guy. Pittsburgh movie, by the way. And he does so much, but again, looking at the complete filmography, when I look at it, okay, what movies overall am I saying goodbye to? He has the movies next up on lists out of these last 3 that I have the easiest time, prying my fingers off of and letting go. There's not a lot here. There's stuff here that I like to watch and I enjoy watching, but there's not like anything that's like core to my like being as a movie fan that I have to rewatch and I have to see over and over again. I'm going to miss a lot. I'll put it this way. I'm going to miss his performances a lot more than I'm going to miss his movies.
Anybody else have Woody at number 3? Go ahead, Adelaide. I'm with you. It hurts, but I'm with you.
My 2 and 3 are real close. It just comes down to, at the end of the day, I do think Harrelson, I love who he is and everything he brings to it. I just haven't seen him break out of that as much. Like I really want to see like everything in his 90s run. I haven't seen fucking anything. I haven't seen Natural Born Killers. I haven't seen People versus Larry Flint. And that's what's holding me back from putting him any higher is I want to see that side of him. I just haven't been able to. That being said, I do think he occupied that space of bringing this unique quality to everything that he does, and that's why I put him. That's why I put him above Willis to an extent. I do have this belief of everything he touches is at least interesting because he's in it, and that elevates every piece of anything that he does.
You are right. I would argue there's another person on this list who might be a little bit better actor than Woody, but it's. I think Woody has shown it in more movies. I'm with y'all where I don't. Again, listing everything 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. He ended up being the one that was usually 4th on my list of blockbusters, 4th on my list of serious, 4th on my list of fun, which just shows how amazing all 4 of these. All 4 of these guys are.
I just haven't seen enough of Woody Harrelson stuff. I've seen him in Cheers play the naive kind of dumb character. Then I've just seen him play the more violent character in American Psychopaths and Zombieland. So if I see more, maybe I could think of more of a range. I just haven't seen enough of his work.
Yeah. So let's just get the niceties out the way now. We are up to our top two, where me and Kirk have the right top two, which is Keaton and Willis. Easy. Richard and Anthony have Nick and Michael Keaton, but we know exactly where Anthony is going, so that's no. That's
I'm not that transparent
whatsoever. And Chris and Adelaide, they also have Keaton, and they kept Woody. So with that, let's just get into it. Going into the numbers, 2 people have Michael Keaton. 1 person other than Anthony has Nick Cage. 1 person kept Woody Harrelson, and 1 person kept Bruce Willis. Now, again, usually if you're by yourself, I let you go first. But there's 2 people on an island, so we all are in groups. So we all are just gonna go at it. Another video I should have is just let them fight. So everybody, just fight. Tell me why you're wrong by not keeping Bruce Willis. What's going on?
Fuck you!
Ow.
He's a nothing actor! His career is done! He hasn't done shit in 30 years!
Right now, we're giving
What's
it
a good movie?
if we're saying from here forward, sure. But we're talking about the entirety of their career. Like I said,
Right.
You're talking about Pulp Fiction. You're talking about Die Hard. You're talking about Unbreakable, and you're talking about The Sixth Sense. Those 4 movies right there, you're going to get rid of those movies.
Yes! I
Over-
don't get... Here's the problem, though. We are looking at, again, a handful of good movies and then a nothing career. What
That
you're
is-
doing with everything else is consistency over 40 years. You are top heavy, and I will give you that. But everything else you are wasting keeping all of that good shit. For all of the shit behind it.
Who has a better top 4 than that?
No one, and I'm giving you that, but you're going off a top 4, I'm going off of a fucking career.
I gave it a count. Willis has I went through it. I would keep 9 of Bruce Willis's films, and nobody after that comes close to 6. Maybe Keaton, but he's number 2. Keaton was hard, and I had some trouble with those 2. But Bruce Willis has better franchises than Die Hard. Bruce Willis has a better best film of all time in Pulp Fiction. Bruce Willis, as I mentioned before, has better fun movies that can be considered bad in Hudson Hawk. Death Becomes Her isn't bad. It's amazing. Hudson Hawk is a masterpiece. You shut your damn mouth.
Me and Anthony are united on the right way to argue this. We're talking about a career, not just best films, but as a career. You lose nothing with Nick Cage being number 1 because he brings something new every time, and it's absolute batshit insanity.
Right, he brings
insanity. He's coming back every time.
I like
Every time.
Nick Cage, but he just screams in all his movies.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I don't want to have him at number
the
2.
crazy
It's fun.
Elvis character every single
He's putting
time.
out like 5 movies a year.
Because he'd be homeless if he did.
Shit after shit, and it's good shit every time.
No, it's terrible.
They may be bad movies, but he's having a great fucking time.
So you're saying you'd rather
time.
keep 20 really bad movies than 4 great ones?
Yes,
Yes,
I would rather 80
I would
mixed
watch
bag
Con
movies,
Air,
and they're
Sequel,
amazing.
National Treasure 2, Primal, Mom and Dad, Color Out of Space. How many more do I need? Willy's Wonderland was actually
You haven't hit anything close.
Also,
It was
if we're talking past, Nick
How many
Cage
more
in
are
the
you
80s and 90s is legit a great actor. He won an Oscar for a goddamn reason, and in every fucking film in the 80s and 90s, he is fucking home run after home run. Not only is he great quality over there, then you get into the bad shit. You have so much range with Cage. You have so many films that you're getting in that universe. Nothing else. No other actor here matches what you get with Cage.
All right, when you say range, are you talking about like of genre?
Yes.
Bruce Willis has more of a range of genre than Cage does.
Oh gosh, yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
Kirk, didn't you pick Keaton? Why are you defending Willis?
he's just not defending Cage.
It's better than Cage.
Not Cage.
I'm saying Willis has so much more of a diverse body of work than Cage does.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I just like that Nick Cage movies. That's why I had him at number 2. But I think you can't have Nick Cage over Michael Keaton.
You can't.
He's just a better actor.
Nick Cage.
We are going by better
Nick
actors
Cage
now.
does
Did you just say
everything
Nick
ever want.
Cage is the better actor than Michael Keaton?
No, he's not. You can't. I would much rather lose all Nick Cage movies than lose Beetlejuice. Lose the first two Batman movies.
Yeah, I would say he's with you, Kirk. He's with you.
Okay,
No.
What you said, I kind of.
No. I was saying I'm saying
I'm sorry, I
Keaton is better
apologize.
than Nick Cage.
Okay, I apologize. I thought you said Nick
If
Cage.
I lost Nick Cage and I lost Con Air for the rest of my life, I would not.
But we also get to lose Ghost Rider, which is a good thing.
Who cares? So what? All these actors have a terrible movie in there.
They do.
They all do. Hey, how many of them have a Palme d'Or movie that they were in that they won? Oh wait, Nick Cage does.
And how many movies does
and
Nick
it's
Cage
fantastic.
have
He has an Oscar.
chainsaw duel with a demon? Nick Cage has so much to offer in his career. That shit's awesome.
I'm sorry, but I'd rather see Bruce Willis duke it out with basically a demon Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her than that shit. I'd rather watch Armageddon. Actually, this is close. But
I'm
Armageddon
offering you Fast Times
very
at Ridgemont
barely.
High, and Peggy Sue Got Married, and Wild at Heart. Like there is
Never seen Wild at Heart. I think I've seen Peggy Sue Gets Married, and I don't want to see it again. I don't really want to see Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
You got me more excited now that I can get rid of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Bye.
No.
I'm not worried about that. He's barely in it. But Raising Arizona is brilliant. Raising Arizona is a fantastic movie. Getting rid of that is ridiculous. That's excellent. And you can do what you want. Of all of these people, of all these actors, they're all good actors. Don't get me wrong. And Nick Cage definitely does the worst because he has to pay for the dinosaur bones in his house. I get it. But if you're going to start quoting movies, if you're going to think of, hey, what's the scene I remember more than any other? Nick Cage has more quotable lines, more things that you know immediately than most of the others, especially Woody Harrelson. Bruce Willis has the Die Hard. Okay, you can quote those. But he's always fun. Yes, he is always fun every single time.
All right. Before Kirk and Richard go into Keaton a little bit more, I always know how to get myself in there, so I'm gonna let Chris. Chris, why did you end up keeping Woody Harrelson over everybody else?
It's tough for me because on any given day, I would put Keaton in. Really go back, flip-flop back for between Keaton and Harrison. I look at the body of work, I think, like, I'd be up that like the Feed Railroad. I'd be up that movie, the last 28 of the Annie Tickets movie, because we get rid of that, then we don't have a conclusion to in the sake of Planet of the Apes.
I don't need a conclusion to Planet of the Apes, but keep it going.
I'd be up that we can talk about. We have that movie, but honestly, it's one of the best seasons for television with True Detective. And Matthew McConaughey was excellent with each other in that show.
Never seen True Detective, but okay.
I would leave that in 17. I would leave Natural Born Killer. I would leave at least for fun movies, the first thing to me is a fun movie. Watch over and over again. I would leave most of the Hunger Games because you like as a fan of it. There's a bunch of Woody Harrelson movies I love, and I would leave Seven Psychopaths. I love that Psychopath. Like, it's a matter of recency by about and just also of like it's tough because between him and Michael Keaton, like they both had great great movies that I would hate myself for losing. That Bruce Willis and Nicolas Cage, I love them. I do. I haven't loved a lot of their more recent stuff. So between stuff I've seen from Woody Harrelson and stuff I've seen from Michael Keaton. And I could go on and on with the list of great Woody Harrelson movie, Kingpin, and like mentioned, I could go on and on. Because there's so many good movies and like that. It starts to lose. Also, getting rid of Free Billboard, also getting rid of best performances for Sam Rockwell and fucking German in that role. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I hate losing.
Woody Harrelson has good movies, but I feel like after the first few, he gets stuck into group movies, into like there's too many people in a movie for him to shine. Zombieland, you got 3 other people you're competing with. Seven Psychopaths, you got like 4 other great actors you're competing with. Other than White Men Can't Jump, Money Train, and like maybe 1 or 2 others, he's a secondary character in most of them, and he has to fight against other people.
But he even in small role, he's still in the movie. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Friend with Benefit, but he's easily the funniest thing about that movie. He still edge of 17 every time you have screen with anti-Seinfeld, and it definitely late in top 10, top 20 best teaching movies. Like Zombieland Heat, the funny thing is Zombieland, like both of them, like it's just like, and he was a big villain in every think about it, I was saying. Even Planet Aim, not a big role, but he was a really good villain in Wolford Planet Aim. And very sympathetic villain. Wow. Like,
Here's the thing when it comes. Here's the thing when it comes to Woody and even Keaton, which was the hardest for me. Every single movie you just listed, I can think of a Bruce Willis film that's better, that I would rather go watch. You want horror? This is the one. Objectively, everybody loves Sixth Sense. I don't. I actually don't like it at all, but I know objectively that's better, and I would just go see Hostage instead. You want to talk about films like Edge of 17? Have you ever? Blind Date is absolutely a hilariously fun time.
Those whiskey, Kirk. Jesus Christ.
I also love and grew up on Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking 2. And yes, even Look Who's Talking Now. I'm sorry, but I love those. Hey, look, and then you got Unbreakable and Split, and then you got Red, and then you got Armageddon. Armageddon and Con Air are like here. Gone in 60 seconds tops all of that for me. But then you start going into their actual films. Die Hard is one of the greatest action franchises of all time. None of the other three have an action franchise that is up there. 16 Blocks is one of the most underrated films of all time. And that is one of the last times Bruce Willis has actually acted, and I absolutely love that film. Fifth Element is a fucking modern classic, and there's nobody who beats Fifth Element on anybody else's list. You got 12 Monkeys. You just have and then you have fucking Pulp Fiction, which can be in anybody's top 10 of all time. I'm sorry, Keaton was very, very, very close. I just have more from Bruce that I would keep over Keaton, who was like neck and neck. Everybody, Woody and Nick, they don't come close to his movies. Nick has a longer run of shit, and Woody just has like everything in the middle. And because he has everything in the middle, I don't go back to his movies. So
I also will say that we also kind of television with Woody Harrelson, we would cheers. So
I wasn't born.
I mean, and I'll defend Chris a little bit here because it was hard. I mean, Woody was my 3, but he was a hard 3 because, again, like my perspective was a little different. But if you're going to look at it, like I said, from the performance standpoint, there are a lot of great performances that you're losing. And like you said, you are losing Cheers. You're losing True Detective. You're losing a lot of good TV. So, I mean, again, I'm 2 spots away from Woody with Chris, but I could see why that's a respectable number 1. I could understand why he would keep him number 1.
Here's the thing. Everything said today, every movie we mentioned today is worse than the greatest film of all time, Face Off.
Oh
Nick Cage literally plays John Travolta. So by keeping Nick Cage, you get John Travolta's career. You can do everything he does there.
You just bring John Travolta's old
and you get
some ass into this.
You're taking an argument for
boy, if you don't get
I had to play that out all the way.
I win.
All the way for that. Look, here's the deal. It was really hard because movies like Multiplicity, Spider-Man Homecoming coming back for that. Keaton was really, really hard to lose. But I just think Bruce's, like, looking at his overall career, he has more movies that I go back to and absolutely love. And Keaton was a close second. He was. Adelaide, I think you made a face at Multiplicity, and I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you.
I haven't seen Multiplicity, so I can't have it.
Spence, I forgot. Face Off is like 25 years old, so that's too old. You have to forget about it.
You always talk about
it's old as Pulp Fiction.
I don't Nick Cage and Hairspray, damn it.
In all fairness, you're saying 25 years old. You always talk about Goodfellas over and over, and that movie's older than freaking Face Off.
No, he was saying earlier that Pulp Fiction, we have to forget about Pulp Fiction because it's old. Face Off is just as good.
It's true.
What I said.
By the way, I'm not comparing Goodfellas to Face Off.
Yeah.
That's
No,
just
no,
that's a
what I'm saying is that Willis had one great career. Everyone else on this list has had a consistently great career. You may have one good solid decade, but that's ignoring the pile of shit you're going to get with everyone else. While Cage also has a pile of shit, his shits are at least entertaining. You want to watch them. You want to see what the fuck he does next. And not to mention, as he's slowly getting more and more out of debt, including this year, like he's working really well within the indie scene. Indie horror is his shit right now, and he's crushing it every single time. Nick Cage just found a resurgence, which is why we're getting so many great films with him now. There's a reason he's my number one. Yes, he's in batshit, and that's in the early to mid 2010s. Cage has been consistent in quality and as an entertainer. He puts out entertainment. Willis is not entertaining. There's a reason he's my 4. If he's on a marquee, I don't want to watch the film. He actually makes me less interested in going to see a movie.
Unfortunately, I cannot wait till he comes back and actually does. Oh, by the way, there's no way I'm losing any of the Ocean's trilogy, and I love Ocean's 12. Now, sure, Bruce Willis right now is not entertaining. But you know who is and who definitely should be over him? Is Michael Keaton. That's why he was my number 2. Kirk and Richard, did you keep Michael Keaton over everybody else?
I just think he has the most range out of the 4. He's had played a lot of different types of characters. Like, he was in one of the greatest television shows of all time, Mary Tyler Moore, which I haven't seen it, but it's a lot of people compare it to one of the greatest TV shows of all time. I don't want to lose Batman or Batman Returns. A lot of people don't like Batman Returns. I personally love it. Beetlejuice, one of my favorite movies growing up. Birdman was a fantastic movie. Don't want to lose that. His cameo in The Other Guy, his part, not even cameo, his part in The Other Guys is a fantastic role. I just think he's the better actor. He has a lot of great range. Yeah, sorry.
Good, Richard, good.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I'm just going through and I'm looking at his early run in the 80s. He had Night Shift, Mr. Mom, Johnny Dangerously, Gung Ho, and then you go on, he hits Beetlejuice, then Batman, and then all like Multiplicity, and then his serious stuff. One Good Cop, Porco Rosso. He's in a Ghibli film. Porco Rosso.
This guy is Ghibli.
Everything. I love Porco Rosso.
Cool, you give it 3 stars. Whatever.
That means I like it. Learn my letterbox. Learn how my letterbox works, Spence.
3 stars means like 10.
Right. And then he has all that great run. He did Out of Sight and Jackie Brown. And then, we kind of lose him for a decade, but he's back. He did Birdman. He did Homecoming. He did The Other Guys. He shows up when he showed up in the Trial of Chicago 7. I was so excited. I'm like, look, it's Michael Keaton. He's so great in it. Spotlight. The Founder. He's so good. He's so great in The Founder. He's such a horrible person. It's so good. So, he has that great early run. He has 80s, 90s, 2000s. He kind of fades away, but he's back so strong and he's still going. He's the one guy out of these 4 who I can look at and say, he's like, what's he doing? I want to see what he does in the next 5-10 years. Because we keep saying the word comeback or resurgence. He's the one out of these 4 guys having the true resurgence. He's making great. He was nominated for Oscar nominated movies 2 years in a row. And then he was in one this year. He's making really great movies, really great choices. He's doing a lot of great stuff. Plus, he's from Pittsburgh. You think I want to go to Pittsburgh?
That's what I made him 4th then.
Not going to happen.
I messed this up.
That's a small part of what's so great about him. Here's
the thing. I actually don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. That's why he's number 2 for me. I really enjoy a lot of what he's in. One, there's no way on this list I'm picking anyone but Nick Cage as number 1. If anyone has ever met me ever or has seen me on anything ever, I love Nick Cage. But Michael Keaton is great. Everything you said is valid. I cannot really argue too much about that. But Nick Cage. He's a
me
different
personally.
person.
It's funny. Me and Anthony almost had a similar list. I had Nick Cage number 2, but I love Nick Cage bad movies. But the reason I have to have Michael Keaton number 1 is if you look at a still shot of any movie Michael Keaton's in, you can probably guess what movie that is. If you put in Nicolas Cage movies, you're not going to know a lot of these movies he's in just for a picture or even a quote, because a lot of his movies blend together. A lot of his quotes blend together. A lot of Michael Keaton's works do not blend together. They're unique.
I probably could guess, but also I'm bad at Oscars. Of all 4 on here, who has an Oscar? Anyone want to answer that real quick? Yeah. There's 4 people on here. Which one has an Oscar? No one's talking. Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure last night's show kind of showed that.
Yeah.
Well, none of us.
No,
have
Doesn't get much weight.
I mean,
wait.
look at name me some really bad
I
actors.
love
who
him.
have-
Look, I think the Oscars are trash. But if you guys want to bring it up, of these four,
Reese Witherspoon has an Oscar, so
Reese
Whoa.
Witherspoon, she's a gem. But we're not discussing that right now. Nick Cage has an Oscar. The other three don't.
Yeah, I mean, my thing, Keaton my number 2. I love Keaton.
Nick Cage also went bankrupt
Yeah.
at one point in his life.
Because he wants dinosaurs. Do you not want dinosaurs? I want a dinosaur in my house.
No, he literally went bankrupt in his career. I mean, he had to declare bankruptcy at one point in his life. No one else
I
has
mean-
those lists.
Because the dinosaurs.
I love Keaton. And Keaton my number 2. It would top between him and Woody Harrelson. Like, I love him, Keaton Batman. I love him and Ken in the Trace doing. I love him in a bunch of.
Chris, wrap up your thoughts here because we got one person who does need to go. But this is a perfect place. Wrap up your thoughts on Woody.
The
And
only thing I would get rid of would be Keaton. That would be Card. And
Card.
Adelaide. Yeah, Adelaide know how I feel about Card. Dumbo from 2 years ago what performance I ever seen him giving anything. And the Minion movie. Yeah, don't free to go in a hole down there. Keaton don't. But Keaton has a consistently good firework. And I love both of them. Like, it was tough. Any other day ever for Keaton number 1, it's Richmond like now.
Uh-oh.
Keaton is the best Batman. I will end it there.
True. Adelaide, give us your final thoughts, and if you got to go right after that, feel free to go. Unless your cat wants to give you, well, maybe not because don't bring up cats. Please don't. But your final thoughts.
Cosmo agrees. Nick Cage is the best. I will stand by it. Like my argument's a bit reductive, and they sort of clash together. But I think at the end of the day, Nick Cage is not only a great actor, like pre-2000s. He has an incredible body of work. He's also the most entertaining out of the four here. He's someone who puts out consistent, not quality, but just entertainment. And I think as of right now, he has such a career resurgence. I could see him going back to his 80s, 90s level of quality as an actor as well. I think he has more promise right now for the rest of his career than the rest of these three, besides maybe Keaton. Keaton, I think, is close, but I think Cage is getting there.
Richard, give us your final thoughts. Why you pick Keaton, this list in general. Thank you, Adelaide, so much.
Michael Keaton has played a great hero in Batman. He's played a great villain in Vulture. He has played a great lighthearted character in Jack Frost, a funny character in The Other Guys, a psychotic character in Birdman. And everyone in these lists, who's more excited to see Old Man Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton? No one else is saying they're excited to see another John Michael McClane movie or another Ghost Rider movie. Maybe Tallahassee, because I want another Zombieland movie. But I just think Michael Keaton is the more diverse actor, and he has far fewer bad movies than the other three.
Anthony, we all knew Cage was one. That's why I tagged you when I put this list up. Give us your final thoughts on why Cage is the absolute master of craziness, and we love him to death.
Look, you can say what you want about the movies and that he's done a bunch of trash, because don't get me wrong, he has, and I've watched all of them, and they are bad. But he also has some solid chops and newer stuff. The Frozen Ground was actually a really good movie where he did a good job, and John Cusack was a villain. That was excellent. Willy's Wonderland, yes, it's crazy. He doesn't talk in the movie, and he still does a great job of being able to act in it. Like the horror resurgence that he is having with Mandy, Color Out of Space, Mom and Dad, stuff like that is going well. I'm super excited to see him play himself in a movie coming up. And like Spence said, he could have a resurgence of being a better actor. There's a lot of times that, yeah, he's done a bunch of trash and people aren't hiring him right now because he's a crazy person. But at some point, they're going to be like, wait, you know what? Maybe you can act. And they're going to bring him back. Yes, he did jiu-jitsu, and yes, jiu-jitsu's awful, but he wasn't really the star of jiu-jitsu. He's been there for 20 minutes max. He did a great job in the 90s. He is a ton of fun. Michael Keaton probably is honestly the better actor. I'm going to straight up say that. But he is not as much fun as Nick Cage is. You can watch Con Air, The Rock, and Face Off over and over again, and I would not get bored. And he does have good stuff in the 90s, in the 80s. Raising Arizona is great. He does have Wild at Heart, which I just watched, and I was like, man, this is a really good movie, and he works perfectly with David Lynch. Why they never work together again, I will never understand, because that makes sense. But come on, you knew I was going with Nick Cage the second this list went up. I don't have a lot to say bad about the other actors. I really enjoy them all. Woody Harrelson, to me, little bit, just always a secondary more character. Michael Keaton's great. He was my number 2 almost immediately when I saw this list. And Bruce Willis, I love Bruce Willis, but he gave up. He really did. He doesn't even try. At least Nick Cage tries.
For me, yes, he gave up recently, but when he tried, Bruce Willis has probably, for me, the most range of films, the most I would go back to, not necessarily the most range as an actor, but again, Pulp Fiction is one of the greatest films of all time. Fifth Element is one of the best modern classics of all time. When you go back to Blind Date and Death Becomes Her, he can do rom-coms, he can do comedy, the whole 9 yards is hilarious. Sin City is a amazing comic book movie, and it's not even one of my favorites. I just know how great it is. Armageddon is up there with your 3, probably the 3rd because The Rock and Gone in 60 Seconds are much better. But then you have Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance. I mean, none of those 2 even come close to that. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Shh.
Let's start another episode, I guess. Here we go. There you go. Let's do it.
Again, if you have, I cannot lose an Ocean's film. Or unless it's somebody.
Okay, Bruce Willis was only in one Ocean's film.
One Ocean's film.
Ocean's 12. He played himself. That's how boring he is.
I loved it.
Himself.
It was great. I loved it. Only Leo and Denzel can get rid of Ocean's films for me.
And I will say Ocean's 12 is the weakest out of the 3.
Yeah.
It is, but it's still amazing. And again, if you have not seen 16 Blocks, you need to go 16 Blocks. Absolutely amazing. And I will leave my thoughts on this because I absolutely adore the shit out of this film. Hudson Hawk is a good fucking time.
Oh my God.
Kirk, take us out with your final thoughts. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I'm listening to all you guys give your arguments for why you picked who you picked, and everything that's being said for each individual person. Made great stuff in the 80s and 90s, making great stuff now. All-time great iconic movies, all-time great iconic characters. Does comedy, does drama. Diverse body of work. Every single one of those things applies to Michael Keaton. He's so much fun to watch. He's so engaging. He does so many different things so well over the past 45 years. There's just no reason to not want to keep everything he does. And like I said, out of everybody here, he's the one. Like I said, I was focused on body of work in the past. He's the one guy I want to see what he's going to do next. Also, Pittsburgh.
So with that, as you can see, Kirk and Richard had Keaton. I had Willis. Anthony and Adelaide had Cage, and Chris had Woody Harrelson. I will be very honest. If you ask me this in another year, definitely in another 5, Keaton will take over because I don't think Bruce will do anything else anymore. That's how close Keaton was for me. But in the end, this was one of the hardest lists for me to ever do. And next week is probably going to be even harder. And here is my clue that, again, I had to come off the top of my dome for while we were in this because I was rushing. But my clue for next week is when God speaks, you listen. And you listen to anything that he says. Whether he tells you to eat the cake anime, eat the cake. Because when you listen to him, the strength of the Black Panther will enter into your body. But no matter what he says, you better listen to him, especially when he calls you a motherfucker 25 motherfucking times. And with that, for Kirk, for Anthony, for Richard, for Chris, for Adelaide, who had to get out of here, we will see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit.